a cursed Lego Darth Vader. These are Death Troopers, and this is a disturbed Squidward Yoda. And today I went to the website Citizen Brick and bought a bunch of weirdly molded heads and printed torsos, from a really disturbing Jango Fett to a clone trooper lacking clothes. But there's a catch. By the end of this video, I have to create an alternate timeline where no character in Star Wars is safe, from the prequels and originals to shows and even the sequel trilogy. With that said, hit that subscribe button because we're trying to go for 175,000 subscribers and Lego. So to start off, we need to make some original characters. So we have the chosen one, Darth Vader, who I turned into Dad Bod Vader. He has a tattoo that says Mom on it, and he definitely doesn't like it when you take off the helmet. We also have his mom, who is dead, because, you know. And we also have his wife, Padme, who's also dead, because, you know, geez, Anakin. We got Princess Leia, who certainly looks like she's seen better days.
You stupid.
And we have her brother Luke, who's just seen her. That definitely wouldn't be complete without the loyal droids R2-D2, that looks extremely irritated, and also C-3PO, who's now a Muppet. Honestly, that's probably one of the least surprising things here. One big happy family. Also, Han Solo's kind of ticked for not being allowed in the family photo. At least Chewie has a family. Han's an orphan. Speaking of orphans, here's one that doesn't like sand very much. Specifically, I am talking about Anakin Skywalker. This version of Anakin has been completely consumed by sand.
I don't like sand.
He ended up getting picked up by this Jedi Master named Qui-Gon Jinn and this Padawan Obi-Wan Kenobi. But that Qui-Gon guy ended up dying to a Sith named Darth Maul, who I dressed up as Captain Hook, because it makes him look 10 times more epic. And now also Obi-Wan can fly to cut his hand off, just like in the movie. Oh wait, no, he cut his legs off. Captain Hook and Darth Maul kind of got a lot in common. After all that, Obi-Wan brought Anakin back to the Jedi, and he got to meet some cool masters, like Squidward Yoda, who's also always ticked. The Force we must use. Will you go use the dark side somewhere else? We also have Mace Windu as a cowboy, a blue Muppet Jedi, and one who already looks cursed as is, so I dressed him up as a hot dog. And these guys don't want Anakin hanging around this weird Palpatine guy, because he's a bad influence, and they gave him a Padawan who's orange named Ahsoka. She kind of looks like a Disney character. I also made a version of her as a drummer because it looks kind of absurd. And in the first battle of this war, Cowboy Mace Windu cut off Jango Fett's head, and then two more just randomly popped up, alongside an entire clone army which showed up to save the Jedi from Count Dooku. He's a spiffy guy who talks like a true gentleman, so I gave him the monocle.
Lollipops.
And the clones came in to save the rescue. We have a one-eyed Cyclops clone, a Cookie Monster clone, a Ripped clone, a SpongeBob clone, and even some Iron Man clones. But how can I forget the Chick-fil-A clone? Also this one. This one's down bad. And it also turns out his master is that fat guy from earlier, Papa Palpatine. Anyway, they taught a ton of bad guys during the Clone War, from Sad Bane to General Grievous. Anakin and Ahsoka fought alongside Captain Rex, who is going for that T-Rex vibe, as well as Candy Corn Commander Cody and Obi-Wan. Obi-Wan also fought the skeleton robot man named Grievous, who is actually made out of a skeleton. Probably doesn't take too much work to pop him. It was all fun and games, except for when Anakin would have to take out a small group of Tusken villagers for killing his mom. No, Anakin, not the women and the children too. It also kind of sucked whenever a random clone just died. No, not that guy. And things started to go downhill when Papa Palpatine, who turned out to be evil, went to get some chicken nuggets.
Sir, how many nuggets do you want?
I want to order 66.
It will be done, my lord.
No, not yet. No, wait. After that, everything went wild. Papa Palpatine got in a fight with Cowboy Mace Windu and threw him out the window. The clone boys started to turn on the Jedi and a bunch died. Rip. No. Also, Anakin and Obi-Wan got into a big fight, and Anakin got super messed up.
Baba Booey.
And then he took that all out on a bunch of kids. And no, Anakin, don't! Ah! Look how they massacred my boy. Like, literally, his face is melting off. And his wife gave birth to twins, and he's now also dead. But hey, at least Squidward Yoda survived, so at least that's something. And so did all these guys. Next up is this dark period where the Empire kind of just ran everything. Clone boys all turned into stormtroopers, and these clones in a squad, the Bad Batch, which are essentially a real-life version of cursed Lego figures. And these are some of the most disturbed minifigures I could imagine. These guys have gigantic heads. This one has a gorilla costume because he kind of acts like one. This one usually wears a skull on his bandana, so I just made his entire face a skull. And Omega only has one eye now and looks like a dude. This looks ridiculous. There were also tons of rebels and Jedi that started popping up, like Ezra, who took on Grand Admiral Thrawn. But Thrawn used his forearms to beat the crud out of Ezra and put some tape over his mouth because he wouldn't shut up. And now it is time for the OG trilogy. Remember those kids that Padme had? Now they're starting to cause some problems. One ran into Obi-Wan Kenobi, who is now old, and looks like the grandpa from Family Guy. And they all got together to meet up with Cowboy Han Solo, who got in a duel with Sheriff Greedo, who is looking for Jabba's money. We'll get to him in a bit. And they teamed up with the Rebel Alliance, which has some amazing fighters like Jet Porkin. Yes, this is a Porky Pighead on a Rebels pilot outfit. And long story short, things didn't work out so well for the Empire. Bruh. Anyway, now the Empire is on the hunt for the Rebels, and Luke finds out that Vader's his dad. And when the Empire switched over to stormtroopers, they had some new variants. It's one that's a police officer, from one with a really stretched out face, one that's a chef, one that's a robber, one that's Batman, and one that's James Bond. The rebels also run into this guy, Lando Calrissian, who sells out Han Solo to this Muppet-looking Boba Fett, who I actually have like an action figure of. Like, it's really weird looking. Anyway, Chewie was pretty upset at him because he gave up Han Solo. That's why he has the bloody eye. Now remember that Greedo guy? Who was his boss? This is Rod of the Hutt, who is standing in for Jabba because I can't afford that minifigure because it's $1 billion. And also it's really funny looking. Dude has 4 arms. Anyway, he got his crew with Bib Fortuna, who looks like he's seen better days, T-Neck guy, as well as a Spider-Man alien. An E.T. guy. E.T. was actually in Star Wars too. Bet you didn't know that. And one of the most disturbing minifigures we have had on yet, Kermit the Frog. I have serious regret in a number of areas about this one. This is probably one of the most regrettable minifigures that will ever be made in Lego. What have I done? Moving on, they get back to Han and Luke saves the day. Also, his dad dies, saving him. And this is Palpatine's reaction to another Death Star blowing. And it turns out the ones who are mostly responsible for the destruction of the Death Star are these angry little teddy bear people called Ewoks. I made this one into the Tasmanian Devil. Also, there's this fish chase guy, Admiral Akbar, who runs a little fishing store. Anyway, the rebels were very happy that it was over. And in celebration, I decided to make some more rebels, like Wilro Hood. He was the guy that ran around in the Empire Strikes Back with the ice cream thing. And he also has some melting ice cream in his hand. I also had to make some minifigures from the Complete Saga game with this annoyed looking rebel friend figure. And how could I leave out Macho Mustache Man? But before we go to the sequels, I want to have a speed round with 10 of the most cursed minifigures I could think of. First, we have the Mandalorian with Baby Yoda in a diaper outfit. Now, Mando only has one eye, which is probably why he keeps the helmet on the whole time, and how it actually works because he can't see out of those things with 2 eyes. This is a $300 minifigure Darth Revan. I swapped his face for this disturbing gray one. We also have a big brain Gonk droid, Hawaiian Yoda, a Kaminoan who is completely shredded using the Morbius torso, and one of my personal favorites, the droid bodybuilder. Look at this little guy. I feel like he could like lift literally anything, even that Gonk droid. Now for 7 and 8, these are stormtroopers and a death trooper, and I wanted to turn them into actual death, so I gave them some zombie faces, and I think it looks pretty darn scary. At 9, we have Darth Morbius, and at 10, we have his master, Darth Jar Jar, the most cursed minifigure of all. Sequel time. The first character we're introduced to in the sequels is Rey. She grew up on a water planet, which is why she's a mermaid. Not a sand planet. That's been done before. Twice. Anyway, she ran into this guy, BB-8, and joined the new rebellion to fight the First Order. BB-8 doesn't look that enthused about it. Also, here's Rey as a Minecraft character, because she kind of like looks like one. She met some new friends like Poe, who just had too much hot sauce, barked all over himself, and his buddy Finn, who thought that was kind of gross. Why you bully me? And here's Rose. We don't talk about Rose. Anyway, they took on the huge new corporate empire run by Kylo Ren. I mean, Mickey Mouse, I think. Oh, and of course, General Hugs, who I made using an Ernie from Sesame Street head. Tell me this doesn't look accurate. Also, total side note, but the First Order Stormtroopers look incredibly dumb. So it wasn't that hard to change them around. I gave this one a really tall face, and I gave the other one Patrick Starr's head. First Order also had a droid named BB-9E. He's BB-8's arch nemesis. Also, surprise, surprise, it turns out that that girl Rey's grandfather is Papa Palpatine. Somehow survived. Literally in the movie, they say somehow. They don't even explain it.
Somehow Palpatine returned.
It doesn't matter. She kills him again, and everything works out just fine. And now that they've been defeated, all the cursed minifigures can come together and rejoice to tell you to hit that subscribe button, because you just sat through a whole video without subscribing. Seriously, I put a lot of work into all these, and I just want to thank you all for the continued support. Watch this video up here. Peace out, and stay awesome. Julio.